Hello, welcome. This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I am Owen James, and this is all your latest Rangers news, guys. We've just gone live. Wasn't actually planning on going live tonight. So I've got a few other things I need to take care of. But Phillipe Clement and Connor Barron have just finished speaking to the media out in Sweden ahead of Rangers' first Europa League tie tomorrow against Malmo. Now, obviously there's a lot of information, a lot of news coming out of the presser. We're going to talk through, we're going to react to that presser. We're going to talk about what Clement said, what Barron said. We're going to talk through all of that. But the headline news that is coming out of this press conference today is the fact that there is an injury to one of Rangers' new signings. Well, kind of new signings. And it is, again, a recurring thing yet again. And that is the fact that Oscar Cortes is out injured again. Cortes, who has just returned from injury and obviously has been gently brought back into the fold by Phillipe Clement and the staff. It just beggars belief. It really does. The fact that the guy played 45 minutes, he then obviously played a little longer. I think it was about an hour in the next game. It now is that he is going to be out for several weeks. So he's just come back, literally just come back from injury, and now he is out again. Phillipe Clement said that this is what he had to say. He said that Oscar got a bad knock in a tackle and will be out for several weeks. It was a duel. This is part of football. It was an unlucky moment. He has been really unlucky the last couple of months, and this is the end of his bad luck. Well, I don't think Clement can quite categorically state this is the end of his bad luck, because unless he's working on the principle that things come in threes, the injury last year against Killy, the injury this year, and then this been his third injury, wherever he's working on the principle that 3 is the magic number. And let's face it, everything bad happens in threes. But there we go. Cortes obviously is out yet again. Now, this is just, again, bad news for the club in terms of the winger position. Good evening, guys. In the live chat, Jody says, evening all. Why does this always happen to us? Generally think we need an Indian shaman to lift these injuries. Chris says, Cortes epitomises Rangers as a football club over the past 3 years. A lot of injuries. Good evening to Janet. Pressers are getting to Beale's standard. Hyor said support Tommy. Cortes seems to be getting injured constantly. And Pete Curry says these glass players are depressing. I mean, the big concern for me now is that Cortes has suffered yet another injury. And this is, like I said, it's yet another one. And it kind of gets you to thinking, I mean, nothing against the lad, because, he looks a good footballer. Don't get me wrong. In the games that we've seen him actually play, in the Hearts game, in the game this year against Dundee United, whenever he's played, he's actually played quite well. And he looks a player. He does look a player. But, he is a player that misses an awful lot of time. And, he's missed games last season. He missed 11 games last season as a result of that muscle injury that he got against Killy. He's missed a number of games this season. So he's already missed a good number of games already. Now, the fact we have him on a loan with an obligation to buy, is there any get out clause from that obligation to buy? It is quite worrying, really. Don't we have an obligation to buy? We do. That's the thing, Geordie. There is an obligation to buy. Now, I don't know if that obligation to buy is cast iron, if there is some sort of terms in that deal, whether or not they have to go through with it, whether or not it is a signed, sealed, delivered, definite move for him. Now, look, like I said, I've got nothing against him at all. Nothing against Cortes. I like Oscar Cortes as a player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a very offensive player. He's quick. He's direct. He links well with Hefte. He links well with Ridvan. He's a quality player. And don't get me wrong, he is the type of player we actually need in this squad. But his injury history is absolutely awful. I mean, in the short time that he's been with Rangers, for him to be injured as much as he is, it is just an absolute joke. It is an absolute joke. Now, this one, I mean, Pre-Curry says about the medical staff. I mean, this is not down to the medical staff. This is down to a tackle in training. But, you've got to kind of ask, number one, what was going on in that training session for that tackle to be kind of allowed to go ahead? Number two, is he so, does he have no kind of robustness to him at all, that the slightest knock, the slightest bit of tackle, the slightest slightest touch on him and he gets himself injured. So I genuinely worry about this. I really do. Good evening, Joe. Good evening, Airwolf. If we didn't have an obligation to buy, I would get rid of him. He seems like another roofer. Yep, the Colombian roof, cocaine roof. Geordie, we do for 3 million. I mean, I've seen up to 4.5, to be honest with you. Gilligan, Clement, Beale, and Banfield, the four horsemen of the press conferences. Lol, says I like that one. Good evening, Stephen. I don't know how agents can put all kinds of clauses in contracts. Clubs, though, can't put a repeated injury release clause with no penalties. It's a good point, Joe. I don't know why that's not in there. I think we're tied legally to the obligation, says Airwolf. I mean, I don't know what the terms and conditions of that contract are. I don't know what the terms and conditions of the loan agreement are or what the situation is there. But, you know, you look at this and it's just a huge concern that the guy is out yet again. And, you know, if you look at the wing options we now have, I mean, it now looks like it's going to affect the team, not just in the wing position, but in the 10 position, because realistically now, does Clement have any other, you know, kind of with the injury to Ridvan that is currently ongoing, with his seemingly lack of actually playing Robbie Fraser, you know, are we going to see a situation where Bayrami has to play left wing? Now, realistically, I don't really want to see, you know, Bayrami on the left. I want to see Bayrami in the 10 role. That's why we bought him as a 10. I know he can play wide left. I've been repeatedly told by William that he can play wide left. That's one of his positions. William has informed me of that, so I must get that across. But you know, look, at the end of the day, this guy's a 10. This is what he does, and this is why we bought him. And if you look at his most effective games in Serie A, for Empoli, for example, it was as a 10. Now it looks to be a situation now where you're going to have to play Bayrami on the left. You know, yes, you could push Hefte up there when Ridvan's fit again. That's an option, but it leaves us short for a few weeks now. It is several weeks. You know as well as I do with Rangers players, several weeks turns into a month, turns into 2 months. We know that. You know, the rest and recuperation amongst this squad is just awful, and the medical staff are just, I don't know what they do. I mean, whether they put bandages on with nail guns, as somebody once said, I don't know. But they've hardly got the most, you know, nicest bedside manner by all accounts. But Cortes been out is a real concern. Stuart Henderson says, give him till after he comes back. Any more injuries, I'd look to get rid. I mean, I think that's a fair shout, Stuart. It's just, you know, to see again that he's out again is just very much a soul-destroying move. I think a lot of us were hoping that tomorrow we could see Cortes wide left, we could see Bayrami in the 10, Tierney in the right, and you know, a real attacking, offensive, direct three who would take people on, would go at people, would cause trouble. But it seems that again we're putting ourselves short, and you know, the obligation to buy is 4.5 million. That's I think it's between 3.5 and 4.5. You know, that's what we're looking at. So it really does worry me that you know that it's an obligation to buy. It really does concern me that you know, this lad is so injury prone. I mean, like I said, I've got nothing against Oscar Cortes. You know, I like him as a player. I think he's a good footballer. I think he's a very you know, a decent player. It's £4.5 million. That's the obligation to buy. I've just googled it now. It's 4.5 million. So the obligation to buy is 4.5 million. Okay, so that's the obligation. It's 4.5 mil obligation. So it's a lot of money. It's an awful lot of money to spend on a player who is so injury prone, that, you know, that has a situation. You know, it's a worry. It's a real worry. You know, I think you're looking at that fee as well. You know, that I hate to keep going on about this, but Abdallah Sima, I mean, how much is his obligation to buy? How much is his fee to Brest? Was it 4.5, 5 million? I mean, to me, this looks like a no-brainer. You know, we've gone for the wrong player. Airwolf says, if Fraser doesn't play tomorrow, what does that say to him? That's what I've said all along, Airwolf. If Fraser isn't picked to play tomorrow, especially now Cortes is out, what message does that send to young Robbie? It pretty much tells you the manager's got no confidence in you. Can we play Hefte at right back tomorrow? Is he suspended? Hefte is suspended tomorrow, Geordie, so he can't play tomorrow. This moving players into their unnatural positions is doing my tits in. Just looks like my dad's army team, says Curry. Cortes out again, says Dave J. Typical Rangers signing. Play the boys. Wasn't the medical meant to be getting sorted? Correct. Doesn't seem to be. Evening, John. How are you? Jordan Rossiter, Mark 2. Airwolf says it's 4.5 million we can't afford to waste. You're right, buddy. You're right. Bad business. 4.5 million is too much to waste on a player who's constantly injured. These agents totally, yes, they do. And Victor Roberts says, sick note, get rid of him. I think, Stuart's right. I think, if he comes back after this injury and he gets injured again, then I think this is a real situation we've got to look at how we can get ourselves out of this contract, because it is not a good one. Evening, Gail. To be paying £4.5 million for a player that's missing an awful lot of time, I think is just embarrassing. It really genuinely is embarrassing. And like I said, it's kind of soul destroying as well, because, I think a lot of us were hoping to see that attacking three tomorrow of Cortes, Bayrami in the 10 role. It looks like, again, we've got to persist with Tom Lawrence, in that 10 role. And Tom, to me, just doesn't look a player. He just does not look a player. He's had one good game this season against Dundee United, and he wasn't even that great in that game. So, yes, Yanis Hadji, I would bring Yanis Hadji back in. I'd play, if Bayrami's got to play left wing now because of the injury to Cortes, I would bring Hadji back in. I would play Hadji as the 10. Why would I play Hadji as the 10? Because he's a better player than Tom Lawrence. No, it was an option, Airwolf. Option, buddy, option. That's why Bayern Munich were able to cancel it. Why pay for him when we could have got Seema? Knew what we were getting, says Bobby. Agreed. I honestly think that, this Cortes move is something that could come back to bite the club. Howdy, CJ, how you doing, buddy? Thank you. I'm on the road, mate. On the road. John Lammy says, get Hadji in. So, look, this is the situation now. Cortes is missing. It's what's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Out injured again. It's just absolutely awful. It really genuinely is. And I think, you look on it on the whole situation with this injury, and you just, like I said, you worry. You really do worry. Yeah, absolutely. I've lost your spark, Owen. Burst of my life. Buddy, I'll be fine, mate. I'll be fine. What else? So let's get away from that depressing news anyway. Dado says on the 32nd minute for my pal on Sunday, be greatly appreciated. RIP Ryan. So guys, if we could do that, if you're going to the game against Hibs on Sunday, please 32nd minute have a minute's round of applause for Ryan. Please do that, guys. Dado, if you email me all the details, any details you want, I'll put up as a community post, mate. The email address is on here. I'll put it into the live chat now. If you email me, buddy, I'll put it on the community post tonight, mate. Okay. So let me know. Email me some information, and I'll get some stuff up on the community post tonight. Right. So let's get back to let's try and get away from the depressing news, shall we, for a minute? Let's try and get away from the depressing news that Oscar Cortes is out yet again. It says several weeks, but like I said, we don't know. With Rangers medical staff, several weeks could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months. You never know with Rangers medical staff what several weeks could be. What else did Phillipe Clement have to say in his presser? He talked about the fact that it will be an interesting game tomorrow night. He did remark upon the fact that we do know the previous results. Obviously, Malmo have been fairly cheeky in reminding us of those results on a frequent basis. That video they put out the other day to remind us. Obviously, as well, the fact that we haven't beaten Malmo away from home in Europe at all. So that is obviously that monkey that we've got to get off our back tomorrow evening. Which, by the way, guys, tomorrow evening, live here on the channel, live watch along. Come and join me for the live watch along, guys. Absolutely. Between February and May, Cortes missed 11 games. Then action to obligation, very bad move, says Airwolf. Yeah, I think that's something you probably should have looked at. The manager should have looked at, but there we go. The team is very motivated, says Clement, to take the next step tomorrow. We know we need to find some solutions with no Hjefte and no Ridvan tomorrow. It's about going full in this game against a good opponent who play offensive football. So a couple of things to pull out of that comment from Phillipe Clement. Obviously, we understand that Hjefte is suspended. We know that. We know he is out. And we know that Ridvan is out. So Hjefte is suspended and Ridvan is obviously injured. So, the left back issue is a huge one. It is one we need to solve for this game. Realistically, yes, we'd all love to have Ridvan there, or we'd love to have Hjefte not suspended. I'll confirm that in a minute, mate. It'll be literally 5:40 because I've got to take my daughter to dancing, and then I'll be straight back. So 5:40 live for the 5:45 kickoff. Look, at the end of the day, we're looking at it in terms of this game tomorrow. And we've got to find a solution to this problem. So, like I said, Hyefte is suspended because of that red card, that joke of a red card against Dynamo Kiev. And we've got obviously the situation where Ridvan is still out injured. So we've got to look for a left back. How do we approach this situation? Look, I mean, I think there's a number of solutions you can take in there. But for me, you've got to look up. I suppose Sterling is an option. Casanvejo is an option. Robbie Fraser, to me, is the only option. I mean, Robbie Fraser is a left back. He's left-footed. He is naturally left-footed. And as I said on the video the other day, if you look at the games where we played Sterling, and this is nothing against Dujon Sterling, because I'm a huge fan of Dujon Sterling, and it's nothing against Big Cass, because I haven't seen him play. But I've seen him for those few minutes he came on the other day. But what I mean by that is that there is no situation where we can cast aspersions on Cass, but we do need to play Fraser, because what I've noticed is this: when we play with a right footer at left back, that right footer naturally comes inside. Okay, he comes in onto his right foot continually. Now, Bayrami is naturally right-footed as well, so he comes in on his right foot as well. So that automatically narrows the game down. It narrows it. Okay, so for me, we've got to really, for me, I would say, play with Fraser there, because it gives us that natural width. The one thing I've noticed Rangers do a lot is when you've got a player like Bayrami on the left, or Cortes on the left, or McCausland on the left, who naturally comes in field because of his right foot, the Frasers, the Hyeftes, and the Ridvans of this world go on the outside. They go round the outside. It provides a natural width, because the moment that guy who's on the left wing inverts and comes inside, he pulls a player away with him. Now, if the left back isn't tracked, it gives him the option to get back in and cause problems for the team. So for me, you've got to put Fraser in at left back, because he is naturally left-footed. Dujon Sterling, top player, good defender, very good right back. I'm sure he's a decent left back. But for me, it narrows the side down. And with not having a natural left footer in the left wing position, it will narrow the field. And I think it will compress the attack. And it will give Malmo a chance to block, defend, and really restrict the attack. And the fact as well, you've got Cheney, who will naturally come inside as well. All the players are going to be concentrated into that middle area. Now, if that happens, it's going to find them really difficult to break down, really difficult to get a bit of courage tomorrow and play Robbie Fraser at left back. That's for me. What else have we got? Going to be a hard game tomorrow. Hopefully we scrape it. Geordie says, think tomorrow night we'll give Bayrami a chance to shine and show us what he's properly about. Agreed. We've got a comment here from Joe. Says, Hyefte is a lad with a talent and physicality. He certainly is, buddy. I have a couch position for tomorrow. It's become a regular occurrence. Guys, it's a plastic pitch. It is a plastic pitch tomorrow, so difficult pitch to play on. But look, we're used to it. We played at Livingston's plastic pitch a number of times, and Killy's awful pitch as well. How many sick players are on the first team? A lot, buddy. Why Hadji? He's playing well in the B team. Good. I'd put Hadji in there, mate. I really would. What's the rumor doing around Brandon Williams? Haven't seen it. I'll look into it. We will get beat. We need good luck in the mirror. We are shy. Hibs on Sunday will be the nail in the Clement's coffin, says William. Hadji wanted to leave. Agent boasting in the summer he'll get a new club. No one wanted him, says Scott. And Scott Kearney says a draw is not a bad result. I mean, possibly, Scott. I mean, the one thing you've kind of got to say, though, is if you look at the rest of our fixtures, thank you, Alex. I think, you've got a situation where we need to get a win. We do need to get a win. These are one of the games I think, you've got to look at in terms of actually winning the game and actually getting the full 3 points tomorrow. Because, if you look at our Europa League fixtures, there are some very tough fixtures. The Manchester United, obviously, tough. Tottenham, tough. Nice, tough. Olympiacos, tough. So that automatically restricts down the number of games you can get points from. So, realistically, Malmo away. Look, Malmo, yes, are a decent offensive team, which is good for us. I think, if they're going to come and attack us, if they're going to come and have a go, at least it will give us a chance to play football against them and hopefully get past them. There won't be a low block there. There won't be a restriction. So hopefully, that gives us an opportunity to really take the game to them and actually have a go at them. So look, I mean, that's the positive of it, but the negative is that we're missing these players. That Cortes is out, the Hyefte is suspended, that Ridvan's out. So we are missing key players from key positions. And that left side is now becoming a real worry. Dardo says Malmo is like Aberdeen, is like playing Aberdeen. probably true. I mean, I saw an incredible statistic the other day that Malmo's entire squad is not worth as much as our starting 11. I mean, that's just mental. I think that their most expensive player was Said Haksabanovic, who was 1.6 million from Celtic, and he's a Celtic failure. So, that is it. Jordy says, I can honestly see us beating Spurs at home. That's an interesting one. Big Ange bringing Spurs back to Ibrox. I'm sure that Big Ange will be welcomed, shall we say, to Ibrox. Very doubt it. Very doubt it. Yeah, I've got to agree with this, Janet. What Janet says here. Scott says they have fast wingers. Tav will be a target, I guess. Yeah, as I mentioned on the video this morning, they have Hugo Bolin, who is a fast left winger, fast, quick, direct. They'll have watched the videos. Their manager will have watched the tapes. He'll have looked at how to beat Rangers, how to play Rangers, and he will obviously, I think, target Tav because Tav's not quick. So that, of course, begs the question: who do you put on the right wing? How do you play that? Clement's got a real difficult selection to make tomorrow in how he lines up. It's frustrating for me that we persist with James Tavernier. Look, James Tavernier will start tomorrow. I mean, as much as all of us might not want him to start, as much as all of us might not want him to play because he's not a good footballer anymore. Realistically, I don't think that he'll get dropped. I just can't see it happening. I think he will play tomorrow. I think he will obviously start the game because he's the captain. Is that a reason to start him? No, not really. His performances this season have been very poor. I can't think of a single game where he's actually played well. I genuinely can't. I genuinely think that it's the end of an era with him, but he won't get dropped. He just will not get dropped. I mean, in terms of predicting the team for tomorrow and how I think Clement will line up, I think Clement will go with this tomorrow. I think he'll go with Butland. He'll go with Tav, Suter, Proper, because Suter and Proper do seem to be his first choice. Sterling at left back. I don't think he'll trust Robbie Fraser. I think he won't play Robbie. And I think, like I said, what message does that give to Robbie? Barron and Dio as the 2, Cheney, Lawrence and Bayrami as the 3, and Dessers in the 9 role. That's the team I think he will play tomorrow. Yeah, let's have a look at your comments now. Scott says Dessers to score the winner. Dado says Spurs are all dreadful on corners and free kicks. Shame we're shit at taking them, isn't it, Dado? But yeah, I would certainly be working on the set pieces before the Spurs game, given how bad they are defending them. Gilligan interview sent a shiver down my spine. We saying a decent single owner would get turned away, even if they have a good track record. I've got to agree with that, Airwolf. I genuinely don't understand it. If someone came in and wanted to buy 51% of the club and was a decent person and was a good person to run the club, I don't have a problem with it. Scott, I don't think he's even that good, mate. Just enjoy these European games. Not likely we're getting far, but it's more time to get us ready to play the great on Wash, says Stephen. But yeah, it is a good test, isn't it? Do we switch to 4-4-2 for these matches, get the maximum number of points? Interesting. Can't see it happening though, Geordie. For me, he's not flexible enough. Clement doesn't change formation. That's the situation there. So I don't think he's going to change from a 4-2-3-1. He doesn't have a flexibility like that. He isn't Guardiola, Klopp, Arteta. He's not willing to change his shape, willing to change his formation. So for me, not going to happen. If he screws up bad, that's another nail in Clement's coffin, says Joe. Jordan Ive, it's the same as last season. If he doesn't play enough games, we've got no obligation to buy. Hope this is the last time because we're definitely a better team with him in the squad. Owen, have you heard Tav wants the captaincy took if him any truth in it? I don't know. I'll look into it, Janet. I haven't seen it. I will look into it, guys. So look, let's carry on through this presser that's just obviously just recently finished. Everyone talked about the difficulty of kind of weird. Yeah, guys, so I was saying, Clement talked about as well that, when we played in the Europa League group, it was easy to analyze just 3 teams. You only had 3 teams to look at. You only had 3 teams to figure out. You only had 3 teams to do your homework on. But now you have 8 teams to analyze, 8 teams to figure out, 8 teams to kind of look over. And yeah, I think that does bring a natural toughness to it and a natural difficulty to that whole analysis side of it. You know, and I suppose as well, you kind of have that familiarity, don't you? Once you've played a team, once you've actually played against a team, you get to understand, to know them, to figure them out a little bit. It does help you, doesn't it, when you go to play them in the future? So there's a little bit of a downside there for me in terms of this 8. I mean, I've got to say, personally, I don't like the new Europa League. I don't like the new Champions League format. I think it's a bit of a joke. I mean, 8 teams. I like the group stages. I like the 4 teams in a group. I like the fact that you play home and away against the 3 other teams in your group. I like that little group. I like the way that much is a lot better. I just think this whole system is kind of naturally unfair, naturally just weird with how it's lined up. You know, with some teams getting really easy draws, Celtic, some teams getting really hard sets of fixtures, Rangers. So, you know, I do think there's that kind of imbalance to the whole situation. And I do think that this format does need to be got rid of and abandoned. I don't really like it. I think it is pretty pathetic. I know Erik ten Hag, the Man United manager, criticised it today as well. Thomas Smith says in the live chat, he says, Tav keeping himself fit for his testimonial, seriously give up. Clement says, no matter who comes in for him, he's saying, hopefully that's a good thing. Yeah, so there we go. I mean, hopefully, yeah, I mean, I understand that. Clement also talked about the fact we are ambitious. We always want to be better. The exciting thing in this project with a lot of new guys have players getting a first taste of European football and the challenge to combine it with domestic football. So, you know, I do think that, yeah, there are a number of players that, you know, haven't got European experience. There's a number of players there you do need to kind of work with. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, it can be a bit of both, really. It can be a bad thing from the fact they don't know how to play in Europe. They don't know what it's like to play in Europe. They don't know what these teams are like. But it can also be a good thing as well, because they play without fear. They play without fear. They play without worry. They play without, you know, kind of any sort of preconceived ideas when it comes to European competition. So for me, yeah, I mean, there is that positive from it. And it is right that Clement says there are a lot of players in this squad who are getting their first taste of European football. I think that's something we've all got to kind of take into account when we're looking at this situation. So, guys, let me know what you think anyway of that one. We've got some nice comments here. We've got some comments here. Stephen says, agreed, new format sucks loads of balls. Stephen says, we're on a wing and a prayer then. Lol, we are a bit, mate. Would have loved the old format for this year's Europa League. United at home would have been brilliant. I agree, Geordie. Yeah, United at home, United away would have been great, Geordie. Absolutely fantastic. Clement said as well, he says, it's an interesting format. We have some really tough matches. We will focus on ourselves, aiming for 3 points on each game. I mean, look, you've got to go in. No matter what you think, no matter who you're playing, you've got to go in with the aspiration to win. Because if you go in with the aspiration of you're going to get beat, you're going to get hammered, what's the point? You know, this is Manchester United, this is Tottenham, this is Nice. These are top teams, Lyon. You know, these are teams with big budgets. These are teams that we've got no chance. If we go in with that atmosphere, that attitude, of course we're going to get our asses handed to us. Absolutely going to get our asses handed to us. So for me, you know, it's the right attitude that Clement's trying to get across to the players. Hopefully, they're putting across that situation where we can win any game. We've got to go into every game with a real attacking attitude, with a real positive attitude. So, you know, for me, going forward, this is what we need to have. You know, look, I don't think anyone expects us to win the Europa League. No one expects us to go deep into the Europa League. You know, I was looking earlier at some of the teams in the Europa League this year. I mean, there is some brilliant teams in the Europa League. Some of it's a bit Champions League like. I mean, you've got Man United, you've got Tottenham, you've got Roma, you've got Lazio, you've got Real Sociedad, you've got Ajax, you've got Nice, you've got Olympiacos. The list of quality in this Europa League this season is quite frightening, really. So, look, I mean, I don't think anyone expects us to go far in this competition. So, for me, it's just about going out there, having a go. We've got nothing to lose. No one expects us to beat some of these teams. No one expects us to go and beat Man United or Tottenham or Nice or Olympiacos or Lyon. You know, people are even writing us off against Malmo tomorrow night. So, for me, it's about going out there and just doing our best and having a go. Just have a go. Play without pressure. Just play without pressure. And I think one of the reasons why Rangers do slightly better in Europe, I think, is because there is less pressure on us. You know, if you think about the SPL, with the exception of the Celtic game, we are expected to win every game. We are expected to comfortably beat every team we play. We are expected to smash some of the teams, just beat others. So, you know, we go into games against St Johnstone, we go into games against Dundee, we go into games against who else? Let's think, you know, Ross County, and we're expected to smash them. You go into games against Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen, Killie, who are the supposed stronger teams in our league, and again, you've expected to beat them. But so it naturally puts a natural level of pressure on the players, a natural level of pressure on the managers. The fans have a high expectation that we go out and win every SPL game, that the only competitive game, truly competitive game, is the one against Celtic. And that brings with it a natural pressure. Whereas I think in Europe, there isn't the pressure because a lot of the fans don't expect us to win some of these games. You know, realistically, you look at it, and yes, Malmo is different, but you know, you look at Manchester United, you look at Nice, you look at Tottenham, you look at Olympique Lyon, you look at Olympiacos, teams with massively bigger budgets than us, teams that on the face of it and on paper are worth vast sums of money. I mean, Manchester United spent over £100 million this summer on players, and if you look at them as a squad, they've got a squad that is just, you know, packed to the brim with international quality and just international talent all over. I mean, you look at it and you just think, I mean, quality. I mean, if you look at their team that they're putting out tonight against Twente, they've got Onana, Mazraoui, Maguire, Martinez. They're resting Matthias de Ligt. So they brought in England international Harry Maguire and taken out Dutch international Matthias de Ligt. Diego Dalot. They've got Ugarte and Eriksson, so they're resting Casemiro. They've got Ahmad, Bruno, and Rashford, so they're resting Højlund. They're resting Garnacho. They've got Xerxes up front. You know, Manchester United squad. I mean, you look at their bench tonight. This is their bench against Twente tonight. Casemiro, Mason Mount, Johnny Evans, Matthias de Ligt, Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony, who's an £80 million player, Højlund, Kobe Mainoo, England international. I mean, that bench is that bench is probably worth more than our entire squad. So, yeah, you do go into those games with people saying, oh, you know what, there's no pressure. There's no chance of you winning. So, yeah, we have less pressure, I think, honestly. Let's have a look. Stephen says, we had no chance Seville season, but what everybody forgets is that we are the people. Correct. All we can do is our best, says Joe. Janet says, agreed, Owen. Just go out and play a good, relaxed football and see where it takes us without any pressure. Agreed. There should be no pressure on tomorrow night. There should be no pressure on throughout the entire Europa League campaign. Clement dismissed Anderlecht links. Of course, we've got a comment here that that's what Clement going to Anderlecht. Good evening, Owen, mate. Confident tomorrow, says Aldo. Hopefully, Aldo. Anthony is worth more than our squad. Lol, Geordie. Yeah, I mean, Anthony's an £80 million player. RFC 1872 says, I think we'll win 2-1 tomorrow. Let's hope so. Look, guys, we'll be here live on the channel tomorrow. We will be talking. Obviously, we'll be bringing you the live stream of the game. So, it'll be the alternative commentary and the discussion on the game as well. So, please, obviously, come and join us for that. Conor Barron made some interesting comments as well in the presser. He said that he's buzzing for the game. He said it was a big part of coming to Rangers was to get European football. He just wants to get out there and show what he can do and what we can do as a team. He said tomorrow is another opportunity for us as a club to go and get 3 points. This is just the start. We are growing and building the team each week. We know where we are, nowhere near the finished article, but we have to keep building and working each week. I suppose this marries into the whole, you'll see the best Rangers in October and November time. So, I mean, Barron just kind of backing that up, really. And Conor Barron, again, very impressive with how he spoke to the media. A very reasoned young man, a very level-headed young man. Absolutely top quality from Conor Barron. And, you know, he's right. You know, I think we underestimate at times the pulling power of European football. You know, we're a team that can offer Champions League or Europa League football every single season. And it is a big pulling point. It's a huge pulling point to players. Sniper, hey Sniper, how you doing, buddy? We'll win tomorrow 3-1. They are due a beating from us. They certainly are, mate. The board of a joke. They're dragging our club down while Celtic play Champions League and equal our title record. It hurts, and it's a joke. Get Park out. Nothing but a yes man, says Aldo. Aldo, I'm trying not to discuss the board, mate, tonight. Okay, but I will get onto that. We will have a podcast where we can discuss the board. I promise you. What time tomorrow? So tomorrow we're going to go live. It'll be about 5:40, mate. Once I get back from taking my daughter to dancing. So that's tomorrow, guys. So look out for videos tomorrow, obviously. Look out for stuff tomorrow. We will obviously be going live, bringing you the latest. That's when the stream is. Wait, where's my membership? Need to go sort that out. If it was a gift, mate, they drop off after a while. 5:40 live stream tomorrow. That's where we have it. Tomorrow, guys, on the channel. Wait and see. Lammers scores the winner against United, says Geordie. guys, if you are interested in a watch along tonight, I am doing Man United 20 tonight on my football channel. I do have my other channel, which is my football channel, which is Owen James which is the football podcast. I'm going for Mark Goldbridge now. Do you know what, guys? I was even mentioned by the legend that is Goldbridge. Going to mention from the legend that is Goldbridge today. So that just made my day. It really did. That Mark Goldbridge called me a legend today. I mean, that really made my day today. But yeah, if you want to have a bit of a watch along, there is the watch along tomorrow. Obviously, the Rangers game is live tomorrow. I will be live at about 7:50, 7:55 on this channel, the football podcast fan channel. That's my new general football channel. Not aligned to any one team, so please obviously come and join me for that. I'll drop the link in the description for this video. So if you want to come and watch, obviously come along. Let's have a look what else we've got there. We will be there. Geordie, Lammers to score a hat-trick tonight. Let's hope so, Sniper. Let's hope so, buddy. Always a great pod. Thank you, Janet. You versus Mark when we play Man United all day. Yeah, that'd be nice. Hey, you Pratt. That's a nice one. Yeah, I would love to do a collab. Yeah, I'd love to do it. I'd love to do something with him before. I'm gonna pester the hell out of him before our game with them and try and get something with Goldbridge or even Beth Tucker. Have you seen Beth Tucker on the United stand? She is fit as, man. Yeah, quality. So yeah, I might even try and get something with her as well. So guys, look out for that. I'm going to work on that one. I'm going to work on Beth Tucker and I'm going to work on the legend that is Mark Goldbridge. Although I do think actually working with Mark Goldbridge, I would technically be a bit. That's Mark Goldbridge. So yeah, tonight I'm going to go live tonight. I'm going to do the watch along of the Man United game. So come and join me for that. But yeah, guys, it's all good. You know, all good. Brett says here, Bertie, sorry. Was players the pre-John Gregg period Superman or what? They certainly were. Yeah, why not? It could make sense to it. Try to do something with him. I personally think he's a not a bell end, but I'd watch Ha. People don't like Mark Goldbridge and his views, but if you haven't read his book, read his book. It's a good book. It's a really good book. It talks a lot about him and gives you a lot of reasons why Goldbridge is like he is. I haven't got anything against Mark. I really haven't. I do like Mark. I think he's a top man. I think he's a legend, actually. I think he's a top guy. I'm not a Man United fan, never have been, but yeah, I do like Mark. I think he's a good guy. Mate, I think Sterling will play left back tomorrow, so I think Tav will start. I can't see Tav being dropped, mate. I really genuinely can't see Tav being dropped at all. But look, like I said, no pressure tomorrow. We go out and play. No one expects us to go far in the Europa League this season. Let's just go out and do what we can. Right, guys, that's it for tonight. A bit of an impromptu live. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your comments. Please, obviously, smash the like on the video. Drop me a comment. I'll drop the link to the live of the watch along I'll try and drop it in the live chat now if I can. So if you want to come and join the 20 versus Man United watch along, the reason I'm doing 20 versus Man United on my fan channel, on the podcast channel, is because of the fact that, of course, it is Sam Lammers. I want to see what Sam Lammers is like. I really do want to see what Sam Lammers is like. I want to see, has he improved any, and you know, what is he actually like now? And he's going up against a good team. I mean, Man United have got a good team, haven't they, this season? Yes, they are struggling in some of those games. But yeah, I'll drop a link in the description. I can't find the link at the moment, so I will drop a link in the description, guys. So please come and join me for that. Anyway, thanks for watching tonight. As always, guys, on the way out, drop me a like, drop me a sub, drop me a comment. Thank you for watching. We'll be back, obviously, tomorrow with the live stream, and obviously with the video in the morning. Yeah, all those things, buddy, all those things. I'll bring up those comments in a minute. So thank you for watching. We are...